So the boss is very angry, and there's fireballs coming down from the sky. All right. Today we're going to be continuing our boss battle system. Now, last video we made the basics, right? We made the boss move, follow the player, right? We use the following script, and every few seconds the boss is going to stop following and carry out their attack. We made the animation, the attack animation. We just inserted it from a Roblox emote. We didn't actually animate anything. And that's basically it. And then it's going to basically loop, right? So follow, attack, follow, attack. This is basically what we made. We also added our custom health bar. And I think that is it, actually. So we didn't actually make the attacks. This is what this tutorial is for. We're going to actually script the attacks. Now, I decided to make 2 attacks. One of them is going to be a meteor shower, and the other is going to be expanding disc, right? Where you have to jump over the expanding disc. Basically what you really see in most boss battle systems. Now I'm gonna show you how you can make 2 different types of attacks, and hopefully you can learn how to make your own attacks after that. You can kind of know the fundamentals of, you know, making and scripting your own like types of attacks, using parts and script and, you know, tweens, basically lots of different things. Now, okay, let's get it started. So first, what we want to use is a module script. So let's go to replicated storage and let's insert a module script. Now, if you don't know what a module script is, it's pretty useful when you want to use like tables or functions, or you want to store information in a script, which is the module script, and you can access it from different types of scripts all over the game, right? So if you want like for example, an information system where it has, for example, all the different ores. Let's say you have a mining game and you have ores, right? And each ore has its own value. For example, $2, $5, $7, you know. And you can put all that information in this module script, and you can get that information one requiring the module script, right? It can basically, it's a script you can access from other scripts, basically. In this case, we can actually make functions inside this module script, right? We can store it inside, and we can access it from the follow script, so we can actually carry out the attacks through that function. So as you can see right here, this is a table right here, and we're going to be using it to list our attacks. So we can name it, or we can, for now, let's make it like attack 1, attack 2. This you can also rename it. So attacks, it's going to be all of our attacks. We're going to put our attacks, the boss attacks, inside this module script, right? Let us see. So the first attack, let's name it the expanding disc, okay? So we're gonna do square brackets, quote, expanding disc. You don't really have to make it like in square brackets and quotes. You can make it like normal, like expanding disc, like this. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever. Expanding, I'm not sure. I have a feeling, no, this should be good. All right, now we want to set it to another table. Now, what this does, basically, you can put information. The only thing we really need is basically the function. You can store functions inside this table, which is what we need. We want to store functions inside this attack proper, or this attack value in this module, so we can access it and we can fire it from a different script, which in this case would be the follow script right here. So in this script, let's go over it real quick. So this is what we did last tutorial. We did a while true do. We basically set a timer. So in this case, it's follow time. Follow time would be 10 seconds. So if 10 seconds has passed, we're gonna stop making the boss follow a player, and then we're gonna play the attack animation, and we're gonna carry out the attack. So in this case, by this time, we want to actually fire the function that we're gonna make in the module script. So right now, what we want to do is we're gonna test some stuff. So for the expanding disc, as you can see, I searched it up. So I kind of found this hollow cylinder. We can actually use this for our attack, and basically what we want to do is make it expand like this, or not really like that, but like basically like this. So it starts from the middle Oops. Let's actually, okay. It's gonna start like this. We're actually gonna start smaller, like this. You get what I'm saying, right? And it's gonna expand, and whenever a player touches it, they're gonna get damaged, of course. That's kind of how it works. So it's gonna, okay, not like this. It's gonna be more smoother. You're gonna see, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's gonna expand, right? And it's gonna hit the players. If the players avoid it, they won't get damaged. If they do hit it, of course, they will get damaged. So this is the shape you want to use. This is the part that we're trying to use. Let's make this kind of like, I think red is good, but yeah, red is good. Red is good enough. We can make this neon. Make this neon. Where's neon? I am blind. So this is a pretty good color. We can keep this. Let's rename this to disk, and then let's put this into replicated storage so we can clone it. All right. Okay. So what we want to do is in the function, we want to make this expand. So we can use a tween. A tween service is basically, it's a service where you can use it to tween objects such as parts. You can use it to tween GUIs as well. So we want it to expand, and we want it to damage the player. I'll deal with that following the end of the video, but right now we want to see how this works. So so in our module script, right, this is our function. Now to have a function property, I guess, inside this value, we'll just start with, like, let's just name this event func, or attack events, then I set it to function, brackets, and then end. So this is how we set a value to a function. So what we can do is when we access this module script, we choose an attack. We're probably going to use a random attack, right? We're going to use a random number. And then, for example, if we chose this attack, right, we're going to do this attack dot attack event, and then we fire it, right? We do brackets and we fire this function. So whenever we call this, it's going to fire this function. So in this function, we're going to do some stuff, right? So first of all, we need tween service. So let's actually kind of define this here. So local tween service equals game get service tween service. Yeah, we're gonna do this in the beginning of the script. Why not? All right, and let's do tween info local ti tween info equals tween info dot new. Let's make this to enum dot easing style dot sign enum dot easing direction dot in. So this is basically the tween info. We want for it to expand from the center to the outer of the base, I guess, or the floor. And we do that by expanding, by increasing the size. We're gonna tween the size of the part. All right. And repeat count 1, or not repeat, it would be 0 actually, and false. That's not really necessary, but whatever. All right. Now what we want to do is clone the disk in replicated storage. Oops, actually, did I? Oh, it's already in replicated storage, my bad. So local disk clone equals game.replicated storage.disk clone. All right. Now let's actually make the goal. So for the goal, we want to increase the size, and we're going to increase the size. That's for sure what we want. The local goal equals, then we make a property table. Now you can add more properties than size. So we're gonna use size for sure. The vectors3.new, and then in this case, oops, that's weird. So in this case, we want it to be pretty much, I mean, this probably is too big of a map. Your map is most likely not going to be this big. So this is around like what, 500 studs. You might want it to expand to like 400, 300. So something like, okay, I don't know why my thing is Okay. Maybe like this big. This is around 276 studs. Good enough. 400. Let's do 400. This is good enough. 400 looks good. 400 looks good. Let's make this 15 as a start size. Put this back in replicated storage. All right, where is this? All right, so vector3.new. We're gonna make it 400 0 or not 0 0. Let's make it 1. Why not? 400. So 1 would be the width in the y-axis, right? You want it to have a bit of width. All right, so that's the size. You can really finish it with that. But since we want to make it a little bit better, let's also reduce or increase the transparency. So it looks like it's fading out. So let's do transparency equals 0, 0.9, 0.8, maybe that's better. All right. So we clone the disk. Disk clone dot parent, or let's actually first get the C frame. Or maybe we might need position instead. But if C frame works, we're gonna stick with that. And then we're gonna get the boss. So let's get the boss. So local boss. In case you have like more than one boss, you might want it to make a variable like, okay, there's most likely going to be only one boss in your case, right? So the mighty recur is our boss, and you're going to set it to this variable, game.workspace, the mighty recur. Or what you can do, if you want to specify a boss for some reason, you can pass it in this function. That's totally fine. But you most likely know what you're doing if that's the case. But I mean, if you're doing a boss battle, it's usually you have one boss and you can get it from the workspace. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but I digress. All right, this clone.cframe equals boss.humanoid root part .cframe, and the thing is, humanoid root part of this boss would be in the same position as the torso, so we don't want to expand up here. We want it to go to the ground. So what we can do is we can get the distance between the torso and the ground, and we basically subtract it in the y-axis. So since we did increase the size, by default the height scale would be 1, but in this case, if you go to the humanoid, the height scale is 2.5 because remember we increased it. So 2.5, and generally for example, if this was 1, okay, that doesn't really, I mean, yeah, if it's on the ground, look. So if it's on the ground, this is basically the same height as the player. The distance between the torso and the ground is around like 3 studs. So if we increase the size to 2.5, that's a multiplier. We would do 3 times 2.5 studs and subtract it on the y-axis. So in this case, what we can do equals, so we finish that and then we do plus vector3.new. So 0, 0, 0. So on the x-axis, we're not going to change. On the y-axis or on the z-axis, we're not going to change either. We're only going to change on the y-axis. So minus, and then 3 times, and we're going to do boss.humanoid.height scale, body height scale.value, and that should be all right. All right. So now it's going to be on the ground. We positioned it on the ground, the disk, and we're going to make it expand. So we're going to do tween service create the instance, which is the disk clone. And I forgot, we also want to parent it to the workspace. The parent will gain that workspace, pretty self-explanatory. All right, so we create a new tween. The instance is the disk clone. Tween info is TI we made, and property table is gold. And then play the tween. All right, now this only makes one disk, but we're gonna test it out anyways. Now, in order to test it out, we're gonna go to the follow script, and we need to require this module script right here that we made. So let's go and make a variable. So local attack module equal game.workspace, not works, game.replicated storage, and dot module script. And oh, actually I named it. Let's name it attack module, or let's name it attacks. Yeah, we're gonna name it attacks, and we're gonna require it. So all you have to do is require, and in the brackets put the module script. All right, what you also want to do is make a table for all the different names. So in this case, you have expanding disk. We're gonna make one more, so we're gonna add that to the table as well. So local attacks equals expanding disk. Oops, put it in. Oh wow. Expanding disk, and we're gonna put some more later on. But right now we only have one attack and expanding disk. Now the reason I want to do that is we want to actually make it randomly selected. That would help out. So now we can make a function so it chooses a random attack. We're gonna do function attack, or just a function for the boss to attack. So function attack, we're gonna choose a random number. So local random equals math.random 1 to the number of attacks. Oops. Right, in this case we only have one, so it's gonna choose one anyways. Random. Okay, so now we can choose a random attack from the module. So attack module, and we do, if I'm not mistaken, you just do square brackets and random. Oh, hold a minute. No. Sorry. We choose a random attack from this attacks table first, because this is actually indexed. So actually, well, I'm not gonna confuse you guys, but basically, so local attack name equals attacks, and in square brackets random. All right, and then we can finally play the attack. We can fire the function. So we'll do attacks, or attack module, and then attack name, because let's see where it is. And because I can see the attack name would either be this, right? And we can actually index this from the module, if that makes any sense. So in this case, expanding disk, well, we're gonna find where the expanding disk is. In this case, it's right here. So the script is gonna find it, and then we can actually play this function, or we can fire this function, and we just need to do attack event. So we do attack name dot attack event, and then brackets, boom, it fires the function. So I think that should be all. Now all we have to do is fire this function, which is then gonna fire the function from the attack module. So when the follow time has passed, stop following. We don't need this print statement anymore, and then attack. So we're gonna test this out real quick. Also, by the way, if you do want it to, so I think in this case, the distance, so the distance between the player and the boss needs to be at least 30 or lower in order for the boss to follow a player. So if you just want you can increase the distance, or if you want the boss to attack even though they're not following the player, what you can easily do is just copy this from current time to end and put this in here in the while true do loop. Just put it outside this if statement, because sometimes there's not a nearest player for the boss to follow. If you put it inside this, the boss has to at least follow the player in order to attack, so it's gonna kind of be buggy. So that's just a heads up. So right now the boss is gonna attack after 10 seconds no matter what, no matter if it's following a player or not. So right now it should be good enough just to test it out. All right, as you can see, it's expanding, and I think it's pretty good, not gonna lie. Of course, I forgot to remove it after, so we can easily do that. So we're gonna do create, and then we're gonna do wait to disk clone destroy. All right. So it only, of course, it only makes one ring because we only made it once. If you want to make more, make sure to do a for loop. We're gonna do that after anyways. I'm gonna show you how you can do that. So it's angry, 10 seconds, boom. Of course, we didn't make a damage script inside of it, so it's not gonna attack us. It's not gonna actually damage us yet. So let's say we want to have it make discs for like 10 times or something, make 10 discs. So local amount of, let's call it amount of hits. Okay. Oh my god. For I equals 1 to amount of hits. Do. And then it's gonna loop through all of this. All right. And then we can do return after that. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, but I think this should be good. Alrighty, let's see. Boom, that's 1. That's 2. That's 3. Oops, wow. That's 4. Now, it might be too slow. I think maybe if you wanted to have it, expand more faster, or not really faster, but at a faster rate. But yeah, you kind of get the idea. I'm not sure why it's not attacking. That's weird. Stop following attack animation. I don't know. The attack animation is not working for some reason, but that's kind of weird. What we can do actually, as a matter of fact, we can make a function. Make disk. Now this is optional. You don't have to make it. Then make a spawn function. Now this makes it so it works in the same time as other disks, so it can work at a faster rate. So other disks don't have to finish in order for a new disk to be formed. So what we can do is put all of this here. Make disk. I'm not sure why this is global. Make disk, or make a local function. Right, and then so since we made this inside a function. Spawn makes it run at the same time, as I said. So we're gonna do make disk, and then instead of waiting 2 seconds each time, we're gonna make it wait. Oops, what the hell did I do? Wait, like for example, 0.6 seconds. So there's a shorter time between disks, but each disk is gonna take individually 2 seconds until it finishes. But we don't need to wait 2 seconds for a new disk to be formed, if that makes any sense. So hopefully this should work perfectly fine. Alright, it's following us. And now it's gonna form their attack, as you can see. So this is what I mean by making it more, okay, this is a bit too fast of a rate. But you kind of get what I'm saying. Actually, I just realized we can put this attack after the attack animation. That's why I didn't. So I carried out the attack before the animation. So we're gonna make them play the animation and then attack, and make this like wait. Honestly, it might be too much. Make it wait 1 second, for example. So each player has about 1 second to react to the attack. All right. Boom. 1 second. So the player has enough time to avoid all of these rings. Okay, this is perfect. All right, now let's start with our second attack. Now, what we can do is just copy this. Not like exactly, but it's gonna be from this squiggly bracket to this. Put a comma right here, actually. Okay. Let's call this fireball. So this second attack is gonna be fireballs, basically. So let's actually erase all of this. We don't really need any of this. We can keep this amount of hits. So amount of hits gonna be like fireballs. So amount of fireballs, we're gonna do like 7. Not that much, but it's whatever. So for a fireball, we do need a range. for like we want to know how far we want the fireballs to be apart from the center of the map, I guess you can say. So in this case, let's make a part. Let's make a block. This might be a bit too much for range, but you can make it as big as you want. Let's say we want to make it this big. And let's make this 0.9. Just so we know this is here. So we're gonna name this fireball range. I have no idea what I'm saying. Okay, fireball range. Now, why do we need this part? Well, we need it to basically assess the range of where the fireballs are gonna be. So to do that, what we can do is, as you can see, this one white, like you see this white little ball right here. This is the position of this part, right? It's at the center of the part. Now, if you want to get the range in the X and Z axis, because we do want it in the X and Z axis, we don't care about the Y axis. Y axis is up and down. We don't care. We want to know where the fireballs want to hit. And we basically want it to hit inside this perimeter right here. So what we can do is first get the position of this part, which is the center. We subtract by half of its size, so like right here or right here, and then we can also add half of its size, so it gets from here to here. If that makes any sense. I'm pretty bad at explaining, but we're gonna do it in both sides. So for example, in the x-axis, we're gonna get the center position, which is the position anyways. We're gonna subtract half of its size, so it comes, or actually let's get the right here. So we're gonna subtract half of its size, which is gonna be at this point, and then we're gonna add half of its size from the position center, which is gonna get us to this point. So this is the range in the x-axis. Now we just need the range for the z-axis, which is essentially the same exact thing. In this case, we're gonna get the center position minus the z size of the part, which is gonna get us to this point. Then get the center position, add the z size of this part, and it's gonna get us to this point. So we're gonna get the range in the z-axis. Same thing we did on the x-axis. Hope that kind of makes sense. Pretty hard to explain, but it's kind of a bit of math here and there, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, so what we're gonna do is now we can, oops, not material manager, nope. We're gonna get a cylinder. This is gonna be basically, okay, that's weird. This is gonna be like the part to notify players or to warn players that there's a fireball coming. So it's gonna be like this. It might be a bit like darker, or it's good enough. We might actually make this bigger. Yeah, it's just so it's harder for players to avoid. I mean, this is a pretty big map, so we want to make it a bit difficult. So this is gonna be fireball. Let's call it fireball hit, because this is where the fireball will hit. Let's put it in replicated storage. Actually, before that, let's also make it anchored and non-collidable. All right, so let's get back to the module. So number of fireballs equals 7. All right, so what we can do right now, okay, we can clone the fireball hit. So local fireball hit equal game.replicated storage.fireball hit clone. Now you want to choose a random position. This is the most important part. So what we can do, let's get a variable for the range. So local range part equals game.workspace.fireball range. In order to get a random position, so let's make a variable for the random position. Local rand pause equals vector3.new. So we're gonna make a new vector 3 because that's a position value. X number. So for the x-axis, let's get range part top position dot x, if I'm not mistaken, minus range part dot size the dot x, and then let's put this into brackets. All right, and let's see. We need to divide this by 2 also, so it's gonna get us to this point right here, and we want to make the second point right here, so it's gonna get the distance between these 2 points. That is gonna be the x range. So I'm not sure if I'm having a brain fart right now. So x plus 2. Okay, so this is the first point, and I forgot we need a math.random. So math.random, so we can get a random integer between the 2 points. So we put that first thing we did, and then let's actually copy this again. And the only difference now is we're gonna add the size so it gets to the other side of the part. So we subtract x, and then we add x, right? So it's gonna get a random integer between these 2 points in the x-axis. Same exact thing on this side now, because it's a square. We get a random point from these 2 z-axis. All right. Now this is for the x. So if I'm not wrong, I should be doing right comma. Now for the y-axis, get the y-axis of the floor. You can just do that if you want. So in this case, it's like what? Position is negative. Oh, I think I made this a little bit lower. Did I? Or right here. So right now, this is like this part right here is like 1. It's pretty close to 0. So we're just gonna do like 0.5 because it's at the ground. So 0.5. You don't care. This is just the y value, of course. You don't care about that. Now the y, not the y, sorry, the z axis. I'm getting confused between y and z. Let's copy what we made, what we typed. The only difference now is it's in the z axis. So replace all the x with z. Z, Z. Let's see, I think that might be it. All right, so this gets a random position. Now, hopefully this works first try. Fireball hit, so fireball hit dot position equal random pause. Fireball hit dot parent equal game.workspace. All right. And now we set a hit part at a random location around here. Now we can actually make a fireball that falls from the sky, and it's gonna fall on the position of the part, of course, on the hit part. So let's make actually, why did I do that? Better change the shape to a ball. And we're gonna make it the same size as the hit part, so it makes sense. It goes through. It's basically the same size as the, I guess, the meteorite or the crater. Yeah, it's gonna be the same size as the crater, the same diameter, if you will. We're gonna make it neon because neon is pretty cool. This is a pretty. It seems pretty like. Oh, this is a dark color. That's why. Yeah, this is more brighter, I guess. Let's call this fireball. Oops. Put this in replicated storage. So now, let's clone the fireball. Local fireball clone equal game.replicated storage. So fireball clone. Right. We set the fireball hit part to workspace. We set it to the position. Fireball clone. We're gonna set it to the same size as the fireball hit. In the z-axis though, because if we get this position right here, I think the z-axis, or I think the y, hold a minute, not the y. Hold on, hold on. Am I tripping right now? Fireball hit. So in the size, as you can see, it's 0.9. That's the X. 38 and 39. So 38 and 39 is pretty much the same. So it's pretty equal. 38 is the Y axis, is the Y value. 39 is the Z value. It's because I tilted it, so that's why the Y is kind of weird. It's supposed to be up and down, but basically Y should be the green part right here. So this is basically like the diameter of the crater, if you will. All right, so let's make it Y value. So we're gonna go here, fireball clone that size equals vector3.new. Oh my god, vector3.new. The fireball hit that size that Y, and then we copy and paste this for all values because a sphere is basically equal on all axes. So like as you can see right here, it's the same exact value in the size, it's the same exact number on all axes. So we want to make it the same, and we're going to set it to the same size as the fireball hit position. Basically is the crater. But yeah, so now we set the position of the fireball was fireball hit top position, and then we're gonna add like 100 or 200 on the y-axis. So fireball vector3.new equals 0 0 0, and we're gonna add on the y-axis, so let's do like 150 on the y-axis. Now we parent it to the workspace. All right, and that should be it. That should be it. Now let's actually test if this works. Let's go back to the follow script, and instead of only, we're gonna add this as well. So we're gonna do like fireball. So this is the second attack we have made. In this case, we only want to test the second attack, so let's erase this. So it only chooses the fireball attack in order for us to actually test if this works in the first place. So let's get on with it. Now hopefully this works. First try. Okay, so the boss is gonna attack at any moment, and it's gonna choose on random spot and the, oh wow, what happened here? I think I did not make it anchored. Okay, make sure the fireball is not anchored. The fireball hit the crater, we want it to be anchored. The fireball, we want it to fall down, so we can't have it anchored. So obviously it only works once. We're gonna make it have, you know, multiple attacks, of course, or multiple hits per attack, multiple fireballs. Right now we're gonna just test if this works in the first place. Oops, right on me. There you go. And I was about to hit me too. All right, so it works. It works. I'm not sure if this is the best color scheme. We might need to change the colors and stuff. For right now, we're gonna do it similarly to how we made it right here. We're gonna make a function. Just copy this. Of course, we're not gonna make disks, but in this case, we're gonna make fireball. All right, put this all in here in this function, and then we're gonna do for I equals 1 fireballs do, and then make fireball like wait 0.3. So every 3 seconds there's gonna be a completely new fireball. And then in this function, let's wait 2, and then we're gonna destroy the fireball hit part. All right, should be good. And let's wait 3. Why not? 2.5 maybe. It's whatever. All right. Now we can test this out and see if this works. Okay, 10 seconds. It's a bit laggy. I'm not sure why it's really laggy. So I can see it chooses 5 different spots for the meteors to fall or the fireballs to fall. Let's wait 10 more seconds. I guess for the intro, you know what I'm saying? For the intro. So the boss is very angry, and there's fireballs coming down from the sky. All right, that is pretty good. Now we can put back the expanding disc in the attacks table. Now it's gonna choose a random attack. Now we're basically done for all the attacks, the physical attacks. Now what we want to do now is actually make it so, of course, the parts damage the players. Now in order to do that, what I decided to do is, well, since we don't want the, well, okay, we're gonna use a touch function basically. So if you're kind of new and if you've never used a touch event, basically if someone touched this part, it's not going to only touch once, it's going to touch multiple times because a player has multiple body parts, and it's going to fire multiple times. The touch event is going to fire multiple times. Now we can add a cooldown, which is what most people do. The problem is the cooldown, if you put it inside the part, it will basically have a cooldown for all the players in the server. Now what we can do is add a cooldown for a certain player. So we're not going to actually script the damage script inside the part. We're going to script it inside the player's character, and we're going to detect whenever a player's body parts is touched, or is touched by a damaged brick, if that makes any sense. So what we're going to do, we can test this, I guess. We can test this. So what we want to do is, for all the parts, we're going to add them later, but we're going to test this out first. So let's say this is a damaged part. Now we're going to add an attribute so it is different than any other part, right? We can basically differentiate between this part and, for example, the ground, right? Now let's call this attribute damage because it can damage the player, and let's make it a number, which is the amount of damage it can cause. So in this case, let's just make it 20. All right, and this is an attribute. You can actually get attributes from a part. You can use like get attribute. It's a pretty cool thing. I'm going to show you right now. So we're going to make a character script. So put a server script inside starter character script. So let's get the local particle script apparent. So if you don't know character, so if you put a script right here, it's going to be inside the character of the player. Now let's go through all of the player's body parts. For I body part in pairs, car get children, do. If body part is a mesh part, oops, which means it's a part, then let's make also a cooldown. Cooldown was false. So if body part is a mesh part, then body part dot touched connect function, and then hit. So hit is the part that touched the player's body part. So we're gonna check if it has the damage attribute that we just added right now. So in this part, it has an attribute right here called damage. If it does have this attribute, then we can damage the player's character. If not, we will not damage the player. Of course, we're just gonna like return or exit, whatever. All right. So if hit, and I think you can use get attribute or get attributes, right? This gets all the attributes. In this case, we're gonna only have one attribute we're gonna find, and we're just gonna do get attributes and square brackets damage. So we're gonna try to find an attribute called damage inside a table with all the attributes inside this part. If we do find damage, then it's gonna pass this if statement, and then we're gonna damage the player. So if cooldown, then cooldown was true. Wait 2 seconds, 1.5 maybe. Cooldown equals false. And then let's damage the player in between these two parts of code. So car.humanoid.health minus equals hit, and I'm pretty sure instead of just doing dot damage, you can't really do that. You have to get attribute damage dot value, or actually you can't use value. You just get the attribute and that's it. So the attribute is the value of the attribute itself, if that makes any sense. Okay, that is pretty good. Well, actually no, that wouldn't work. Yeah, it's not value. It's not an actual like a value. It's not like a number value. For example, health is a number value. So if you do car.humanoid.health, if you do like print it, if you do print car.humanoid.health, you would get the number of health. Same thing with the attribute. If you do print, part.damage, you would get the actual number. In this case, let's say we print this out, we'd print 20, right? We print the damage, the actual number damage. But yeah. So we subtract the damage on the humanoid, we wait 5, and then we end the cooldown. Of course, we need a cooldown. We can't have it running all the time. So, or we can't have it like running multiple times in a second, right? So in this case, we're gonna test this out and see if it works. So once we have this, we're gonna basically add the attribute to all the parts we want to damage the player, and that's it. You don't need to add you don't need to constantly add scripts to your parts. So let me see. Okay, looks like that didn't work. Okay, that's weird. If not cooldown, because I set it to false by default. So if not cooldown, meaning if cooldown equals false, it's gonna be false by default. So we need that, and as you can see, it should work. Boom, it got damaged. Now we have that. Okay, we can then use the attribute damage for all the parts you want to damage the player. So all you really have to do is go on these, for example, fireball and disc. All of these are parts you want to damage the player. Let's add attribute to these two parts. Let's call it damage number, and the amount of damage you want these parts to affect. So if you want the disc to have like 40 damage, because it's pretty easy to avoid, so if you don't avoid them, that's gonna be pretty detrimental. Fireball, let's make this like 60, because fireballs are pretty deadly. These are probably too high, not gonna lie. This is probably gonna be, let's make it like 30, but it's up to you. We can test it out right now. So let's go and play here. So let's say we haven't avoided the disc, or we haven't avoided the meteors or the fireballs. We can also add a damage part for the boss itself. You can just wield, oops, okay, well, that's too late. I probably made this too easy, honestly. But let's wait for the boss's second attack. Let's wait for the mighty recur to attack once again. So as you can see, it's following me, and after a few seconds, oops, okay, that did not work. Okay. Oh wow, it killed me. That's so weird. Wait, what? That is so weird. It didn't appear on me. I didn't see my health for some weird reason. I do not know why that is. Okay, now I see it. That was weird. Okay, so I can see I am decreasing in health because of, oh, and it hit me for some reason. Probably a bit of lag. I'm not sure why. That's kind of weird. That is kind of weird. But yeah, I think it might be a bit of lag. I'm not sure, honestly. Okay, I can't get hit by these meteors. Fade time. I might need to increase the fade time, not gonna lie, because I think it's stopping all of a sudden. It is a bit laggy, not gonna lie. Alright. Oh yeah, that is kind of weird. I'm not sure. Maybe it has a really big hitbox or something. Let's see. Let's go to fire the disk. Is it because there's... Yeah, I don't know why. It's weird. Probably lag. Probably lag, honestly. I'm gonna be completely honest. Last thing we want to do, maybe add like a hitbox or a damage brick to the boss itself. Pretty easy. Let's go to humanoid root part. Let's add a part. Alright, where's the part? Okay. Right here. Let's make it like that. Just so players who are AFK don't just be AFK without any consequences. You know what I mean. But yeah, so we're gonna add attribute damage. Then let's say it's gonna be like 15. It's not gonna be a lot. Transparency 1, can collide equals false. And then we need to wield this to, so part 0 equals the part 1 equals the humanoid root part. And this should be all good. So if we don't run away from the boss, it's gonna be bad consequences for us. So if you follow, as I can see, oops, not good. Yeah, alright. You know what I could do though? What I could do is make this in a local script. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. If I put this script inside of a local script, let's see if this works better without any lag or delays. Because local scripts, they should be able to damage the player. So we're gonna see if this works. If it at least works on the server or from damage on the server. Okay, so it does work. So if I'm on the server right now, I am going to okay, I died eventually. Apparently. Okay, and so if I get exposed to the disks on the server, let's see. Oh, all right. Wow, this works much better on the local script apparently, because less delays. So you won't really experience a lot of lag. It's not the best. It's still not ideal, I feel, but I feel it's much better still. We made the disc a bit thicker. I wonder if this helps. Let's make this like 2.5. I wonder if this makes it a little bit better at least. I feel it's the same thing, to be honest, whether or not it's in the server. Oh yeah, it should be non-collidable, not gonna lie. Okay, yeah, make it non-collidable for sure. Make it non-collidable. Let's see if it's any better. It's gonna be a bit harder, but harder to avoid, of course. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh no, now it's okay. Make this anchor 2. I don't know why I forgot all of this stuff. Non-collidable anchor. So yeah, this is gonna be better to detect. The player is gonna detect the damage part better if it's a bit thicker, like this. As you can see, pretty simple fixes. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much it. Few mistakes, not really mistakes, a few fixes here and there. That's gonna really help your game. I'm not just trying to make a tutorial and that's it. I'm trying to help you actually optimize your game to the best performance. So the only real difference we really made is maybe made the part a little bit thicker, and we changed the attack or the damage detector script from a server script to a local script. It's gonna work either way, to be honest. I just feel like in a local script it's gonna be less delay or less lag, in case you have lags, but it's gonna be much better. The local script is gonna detect the damage, even though it's applied on the server. You guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about right now, but that's pretty much it. It's gonna work either way, but just a few minor fixes. Hopefully it might make it more optimized, if anything. Hopefully fixes at least something, makes something better, but it's whatever. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is my boy Might Recur right here. We added some new attacks, made some damage parts, etc. Pretty good progress right now. I'm not sure what I might do in the next tutorial, honestly. Maybe we can make a part 2 for the boss system, the boss battle system. Honestly, I really don't know. But yeah, that's really it for this tutorial. Hopefully it's helpful. If you want more, please give it a like so more people can see it. Subscribe. It's gonna help a lot. If you want, you can join our Discord server. We have a lot of fun there. And yeah, we're gonna see you guys in the next one. Give me suggestions on what I should make next.